Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Start Your Day Great. Start your day with a coach. I am your certified high performance coach, Sean Butner. And, we talk about things on this morning show that'll help you get ahead in life quicker, overcome obstacles, and generally just live a better life through high performance, personal development, and anything else that'll help. And today, I wanted to talk about something you might be hearing about in the news, but in particular, there's been talk of this economic phenomenon called the Great Resignation that's coming. And according to a bunch of different surveys and articles, it's anywhere between 20 to 40% of the workforce is contemplating leaving their current jobs for something else. And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense because the last year and a half, people have had to stick with jobs that maybe they didn't want for security, and some employers had sometimes, and I know this from family and friends and people I've talked to in my coaching business, that employers have taken that opportunity to cut teams, to increase workloads, to completely shift people's jobs, a lot of things that people didn't feel like they had control over. So you couple that with a lot of things slowing down so people can think about, do I want to work these crazy hours at a restaurant, or do I want to be commuting halfway across the bay, halfway across, a 2-hour commute wherever in the country to go to an office that I actually don't really need to be there because we can do, things over video conference. Good questions. Some people are like, yeah, I want to be in the office, and my company is saying we're going to go all remote now, and I think that's really terrible. So you have all these different things that are happening out there. And, if we think that life's a lot shorter than we think, and I think that was a huge reminder this past year too, it's really important that you're doing work that's important to you, that meets your skill set, that treats you like a decent human being. I don't think these are any things that are too crazy for, people to ask for or want in their lives. And so, as we're seeing this great shift of people in the workforce or in the workplace, the question I think is whether you are feeling really great with what you're doing right now, or you're feeling really discouraged. The question is, what are you running towards in your career? And it's such an important question because, it's thinking about where you want to take your life. It's a very, very intentful question that's, where am I leading my career? And for me, I started out doing business school thinking I didn't know what I wanted to do in college. So business school is a safe bet because everywhere does business, and maybe you need special skills to do certain careers, but that will always be constant. So I'll build skills that I can transfer everywhere, right? That was my thinking. I just had a hobby as doing software. Took a couple of classes in high school. I took 2 semesters in a couple of semesters in high school, 2 semesters in graduate school, and then I was hired as a software engineer for Walmart, and I thought that's really what I wanted. And what I quickly found is I felt really unprepared for that job, and it was great. I learned a lot. I learned to trust that I could learn stuff quickly under high stress and tight deadlines, and maybe you've had a job like that too, but I also knew that it was slowly destroying my will to live. If you've ever had a job that you just kind of feel like you're being ground upon, and a lot of that was just not being too clear on what I wanted in my career and my responsibility, but the job also, had parts where you go on call, and so I wasn't sleeping right. It messed up my sleep schedule. It was a lot of hours, a lot of stress, and I had this feeling that I was never able to get a hold on everything. I was always behind the ball, and it burned me out, And I think that's where a lot of people might be right now, is maybe you can relate to this feeling of, I'm burnt out on what I've been doing the last year. So for me, it's I knew that from my experiences in that job, I loved working with people. I liked the mentoring part when I could show people what I was doing and kind of help them. So, I switched jobs at Walmart to be more of a business analyst. So I was working more with people more on getting people clear on the requirements for the software that we're working on my team, internally in the logistics division. And that was a huge shift, and I felt like I was more competent. I felt like I could add a lot more value, and it was really good. And I also knew it was a step in the right direction, but it wasn't really where I wanted to be. And maybe that's where you're at right now too. Like, maybe you're like, okay, this has been a good learning experience. This has been good training. It's a good tick mark for what do I want out of a job, or what do I do not want out of a job. But you want something more. And so, what is that, And for me, it was journaling. The parts that I loved about my job, the parts that I disliked about the jobs that I had at that point. Excuse me. Just allergies this morning, folks. I was thinking about, where do I want to live? What kind of lifestyle do I want? What kind of contributions do I want? What stories would I tell my kids if I continue to be not 100% happy with where my life was at that time? Would I be proud to say I took a chance on myself, started a business at that time? Or I just ground it through and became miserable and bitter and all that. And I'm like, that's not a really good choice. So I did leave to start a business. That failed. I ended up working for Apple because of that experience, though, which is a much better fit for some of the contributions I want to do. I got back into programming with a lot more experience and confidence. An ability to be like, okay, here's how I want my work to go. And that was great, but I still felt that call to work with people. And that's how I landed in being a coach. And that's why I love the one-on-one coaching and group coaching that I do, because you get to connect with people. I can, share things that have helped me, or this process that I'm certified in, certified high-performance coaching, to help people advance quicker, to help people figure out what are you running towards in your career, right? So, just again to break it down, for me it was working with people, helping people eliminate roadblocks in their lives, helping people live a more healthily balanced life. There's a lot of times when I was working in all my tech jobs before becoming a coach full time, where it's like, hey, like, it's okay to take a break to see your family. Some people were just so focused on trying to do the job. It's like, hey, like, your family's also important. You don't need to stress out about this all the time. Like, people will pick up the slack if you let them, so that kind of stuff. And, so I really love that part of the job. I really had always wanted to own a business. And just like the flexibility, you can see in my home office. It's really warm today. But it's great, it really, really works for me, and I'm very grateful for that. So I hope that you can get to that spot if you're not over there. And if you're there, it's really great to ask this question: what are you moving your career towards? Like, what do you really love? And what, like, intrinsic benefits do you get out of your job? Just remind yourself to keep going, right? Because sometimes when you lose sight of that, that's when you start to feel like you're stuck, you're plateaued, that maybe you're discontented, and you might try to wander away. But if you're living your dream job and you're feeling discontent, that can really help. If you do that exercise, you're like, well, maybe my dream job changed. Maybe it's time to actually, make a plan on that. And if you're like, hey, I don't know, I think I get this, but I need a little bit more help trying to think through this, you can always go to seanbutter.com/coaching, fill out an application for a free 1-hour strategy session with me, and we can talk about your life in this framework of high performance and what you might want out of your career moving forward. So, anyways, guys, that's the show today. I will see you probably earlier tomorrow, as I'm still on jury duty. And go out, live with more joy, personal growth, and impact in your communities today.